As I sip my milk, I was about to call it wine, but I just had me a honey bun and some strawberry milk. I love strawberry milk. Love strawberry milk. And people be like, "Oh, strawberry milk is so nasty." How is strawberry milk so nasty, but you drink chocolate milk? Chocolate milk. But anyways, I just really just don't like plain white milk, so strawberry milk it is. But if you read from the title of today's video, that's what we're going to discuss. And I didn't want to get too cute for this video because I am chilling, vent a little bit about why I quit my teaching job. So it was very stressful. It was very stressful. I just couldn't take it anymore. I just really couldn't take it. And it was just too many red flags that were just coming from the job, period. So quick little backstory. So the school that I started my teaching career, I end up making a tough decision on whether I should leave or not. So I decided to leave. Got hired with a new job. I end up leaving. Okay? So I really didn't follow, and I'm not in my Bible, and I do stay in the word as much as I can when I do remember. So I knew that it wasn't really stepping out on God's word, if I must say that. It was really just stepping out on my own foot, just because I got hired at a job. So anyway, so I was leaving that particular school because my boyfriend and I decided that we were going to kind of resign in a area where it's kind of close to both sides of the family. And we did that, and it didn't work out the way that I wanted it to, the location that I resigned. But I was like, you know what, let's compromise, let's be a big girl, let's suck it up, blah, blah, blah. But I know myself, and my family know myself, my friends know myself, they know me, like, they know me. So anyways, I still decided to come because obviously I had a job. And so with me leaving my job where I started my career, I had maternity leave because I've been there for like 3 years. And so the job that I was currently going to, they stated that I was going to be getting maternity leave, like my maternity leave was going to be able to transfer. However, that was not the case, okay? But I had already resigned from my old school or my old county. And so it was just kind of like, what do I do? Like, I don't know. I didn't start with my new job until September 19th. As the day got closer to September 19th, I just really felt uneasy. Like, I knew I felt not ready to send baby girl off to daycare. But it was also a feeling where it wasn't God. Like, God was really telling me not to do this. And pressure. And I just didn't know who to really talk to, who to really tell, except for go to God about it. And you know, sometimes when you speak to God, you don't really hear what he's saying right then and there. September 19th came around. I went into the building, and the academic coach just dropped me off into my classroom. And I was like, okay, cool. And prior to all that, the teacher that was subbing while I was gone, kind of always was calling me, just kind of trying to see like my teaching style and what should I do in this predicament and blah, blah, blah. And she was just kind of saying it's just not really that much support. But I was just like, I mean, I came from a school where they always kept saying, oh, the kids are bad, or this, and the third. And I remind you now, like, I only been to the current school that I just left, and then also the school that I started my teaching career at. So I only been to 2 schools. Not that much support here, but I didn't know how it was gonna be. So during the like summer when, we were like moving and looking like for a place or whatever, I'll drive by the school and I was just like, this school, but it can't be that bad, And so I didn't know a lot of people from this area. I never been to this area before. And so, of course I accepted the position, and before I even accepted the position, my grade level chair at the time was just kind of like, do your research on the school. So, we did the research on the school and stuff like that. And I was just kind of basically telling her like, the principal, she was willing, to work with me as far as, me being pregnant. Cause I did tell everyone that I did interview in this particular county about my pregnancy after my interview to let you know, like, this is it. And this is how it's going to be. So she was more like willing about it and stuff like that. And so I guess apparently, I think she called my AP to get some insight, and my AP was, and my AP is like my mama. Like, she don't play about me. And so I told her, I was like, I'm just gonna do it. Like, I'm gonna do it. I was like, I feel like it's not right, but I'm gonna do it. And she was like, okay, do what you gotta do, blah, blah, blah. And that's like a mother, like, okay, you're not gonna listen to me, but watch, you're gonna be calling me when you need me. And long and behold, I called her. But anyways, let's go back to the sub that was in my room. So yeah, she was just saying there was not a lot of support. And so my first day, the academic coach dropped me off, and I was just like, okay, so what am I supposed to do? Like I don't have no schedule, I don't have no direction, no nothing. And so the sub that was in my classroom, she stated that she wanted to at least like allow me to shadow her before I, be on my own. And so she was in there when I was there, but it was just more so like I was just kind of like doing stuff on my own. And she would help, and she'll say like, oh, this is what we do during this time, blah, blah, blah. But I just felt like real like isolated. So that was red flag number 1. With just dropping me off, leaving me high and dry, and not having no type of guidance, how to teach this, what to do with this work. But it was just literally like I was just pushed in there. So yeah, so that was that. So I made it through the day. Like, I couldn't wait to get off to go get baby girl. Prior to that, so the story's going to be very, very jumbled. But prior to that, okay, so I started on a Tuesday. I think the principal from the school called me on a Thursday or Friday. And I knew for a fact that she had me on speaker with other people in the room with her, which I don't understand why you do stuff like people do stuff like that. Because my thing is, anything, you never know what someone's going to say. Well, I don't know these people. So the fact that I knew for a fact you had me on speaker was mind blowing. And so further down the line, I knew that she had me on speakerphone, and I knew who she had in the room, and it just kind of like bothered me. But of course, I didn't address it because you did it already, and you shouldn't have did it. And it was just kind of like, why would you even do something like that? But yeah. So anyways, so right now, currently, also, I am doing my master's program. I got 2 classes now remaining, and I had to complete practicum hours. So I was going to complete my practicum hours in the county that I left from. Kind of made it a big deal that I didn't let her know that I had to complete practicum hours. Mind you, now, I didn't know that I had to let her know because I thought that from my particular school, they just let them know. Like, I didn't know that I had to let them, like, I didn't know that I had to let y'all know that I'm completing practicum hours. They just told me to put it into the system and they go from there. And I didn't know they was going to select the host teacher, select the assignment, select this on their own without asking me. I didn't know. This is my first time ever doing practicum hours. And understood what she was trying to say as far as making sure that I get my degree. But it was more so also like, you didn't want me to complete my practicum hours there. Like, you didn't want to have another teacher have another responsibility, or you have another responsibility to intake, because, it was just too much. It was just too much. So that was something else. Red flag 2, I guess, or 3. This time when I was not in the building, I felt at peace. I felt so happy. I felt so relieved. I felt just wonderful. November, December, of course, I was still having to take off. And it was just too many things that were just coming up in the building. Like, you can feel the energy, the wear and tear of your body. The kids in my class, they were, you had some that were good and you had some that had different challenges. And then I had one from day one, like, rough. Like, it was just a lot with him. And so, of course, with those particular kids, it's just like, you have 25 kids, but that one child is like 5 kids in one. So it feels like you have 30. Why? So every single day started after fall break, I started getting these massive headaches where it was like a continuous doctor visit. And I thought that it was because I was breastfeeding and not eating, and it was just a lot. And it wasn't like I wasn't eating. It wasn't like because I was doing it before I started working. But then it was like, I don't know if it was just because I started back working. Really a lot to really have to deal with, as far as, like, I'm really just trying to remember. And then it was just certain moments where it was like, I had to pump and I couldn't pump. So I'm like literally trying to teach. Meanwhile, I'm like hurting so bad because we didn't have coverage. Nobody, nobody. And then it was just like nobody available to even ask, like, can I go pump really fast? Like, it's not even going to take me that long. I couldn't even do that. The lunch schedule, like, nobody was in the lunchroom. So then it was like, you felt like you had to sit in there with your kids, or you felt like you had to do what the other teacher was doing because you don't know how the procedure works. So you just kind of like following based off of what you see. And it was just really a lot. So I felt like the days where I could have pumped, would have been during lunchtime in my classroom when the kids were eating, but I couldn't even do that. Then during special areas, we always either had collab meetings, or we had meetings with the principal or the counselor, or this or that, or this or that. It was just like, how many typically in the educational field, you always have meetings, which that is just so annoying. Like, how many meetings do we have to have as a teacher, on top of grades, on top of teaching, on top of this, on top of this? Y'all need to start paying these paying us more. Like, this is just too much. So that was just annoying. Regulations. Regulations. No structure. It was no structure whatsoever. The lunch, but it was one particular lunch lady attitude. I couldn't stand her. I could not stand her. And the teacher that subbed for me was basically said the same thing. Like, she had kind of got phony with her one time, or, you know, caught a little attitude. And she did that with me. And honey, most of everybody in the school could have been my mother. I respect my elders. I don't say nothing back. I don't say nothing to y'all. I just really stay to myself.
I want to get their trays, and she's just like, ma'am, 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 and I'm like,
for one, I didn't even know who she was talking to, and this was a particular day. I was even feeling good, and she was doing all that, and I was like, she was like, "Can you help your students?" I was like, "Help them do what?" She was like, "You don't see that they need help getting their tray?" I said, "I don't. Like, I don't. Like, if they could just grab it with two hands, like I've been telling them before we get to the lunchroom, then they wouldn't have no problem." And so my thing was, no, I'm not about to help them. No, I'm not. And so kindly, another lunch lady, she was able to help them, you know, put on her gloves or whatever and help them get their tray. Good. That's y'all job. That's not my job. Because right now, as I'm watching them walk through the lunch line, I'm taking away from my lunchtime. I only got 30 minutes. So I'm taking away from my lunchtime, waiting on them to go through the line. Meanwhile, going through the line, they don't have no lunch structure where you let them know in advance, you know, what the kids is getting. Like, if you have chicken sandwich and PB&J, and so the kids, when they come into the school or come into the classroom, they choose if they're having option 1 or option 2. They don't have that. And then you put it in a system. And so that way, you know that you're going to have 10 chicken sandwich and you're going to have 10 PB&Js. Have them ready. They didn't have none of that structure. It was literally, they're coming through the line and you asking them, what do you want? What do you want? They're going behind the kitchen, giving hugs, doing this, doing that. For one, kids should not be in the back of no lunch, nothing, where all this stuff is hot and the stove is on and all this stuff. No, absolutely not. And these are what you call them first graders. That is ridiculous. So it was just really just 10 out of 10, unorganized, dysfunctional, unsupportive, stressful. It was just a lot. And I got along very well with my teammates. I had no problem with them. It's the parents. And you expect that teachers that have your child Monday through Friday for 8 to 9 hours is supposed to do all the discipline for you. But then when they get home, they get no love. They get no home training. They get nothing when they get home on the weekends. You don't help them with homework. You don't help them to do nothing. So when they come in, you're basically teaching ABCs, 1, 2, 3s. They were supposed to learn that in pre-K. They're learning how to write their name. Why am I teaching that in first grade? Like, no. I should be preparing them for third grade when they're going to start taking standardized tests. Because we're not talking about second grade. Second grade is just a additional first grade and just a little bit harder. I should really be preparing them for third grade. And just from the previous year, that when I had my first graders, and just to see from when they started to when they ended, it was just kind of like, I should have just looped with them and just stayed where I was, because I could have just continued to build from that and then just grow from there. I just got so frustrated. So after Thanksgiving break, I had I don't know if it was after Thanksgiving. It was before Thanksgiving break. I had a personal fast that I'm in this women's group with. And I had a fast. The fast went amazing. And I kid you not, I heard God clear as day saying, leave. Leave, 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 leave. And I was just shocked. Every day I woke up, I was so unhappy. I was crying. I was stressed out. I was just so overwhelmed. And then to get my first paycheck at the end of October of $1,425.69. Where they do that at? I was blown. I was blown. I was blown. I was blown. I was like, all this stress just to receive this check? This is not worth it. I was like, it's just no way I'm about to keep sitting myself in this classroom and I'm getting no help, no money. No, I'm not doing that. And I still have my own bills to worry about. I have daycare to worry about. I have a life. Yeah, we're not doing that. So from then on, I just kind of knew from once I received that check that this wasn't going to be worth it. It wasn't going to be worth it. And the particular child that I had in my class that was just, had his own way of doing things, it was just not going to work, because it was like I was literally in the middle of teaching, and every single second I got one word out of teaching out. That was him right at my shoulder, tapping me, asking me, can he do this or can he go to the bathroom, when all they had to do was this. That's all. But he just felt like he had to be seen, he had to be heard, he had to get up, he had to do this, he had to do that. And it was just so stressful. I just couldn't take it anymore. I was just like, yeah, this is not worth it. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. So I just, yeah. And, I got observed a few times, several times. My observations, they went very well. I didn't have no, issues with my observation. It was just really a lot. It was so many different meetings outside of work that was not even paid for. It was one particular meeting that we had that I found out at the last minute. And it was literally the day that I think my boyfriend had basketball practice, so he wasn't going to be able to pick up baby girl from daycare. And so I had to leave the meeting early, and my baby was the last one there, like in her particular room, obviously. I was like, nope, I am not doing that no more. Like, no meeting should be after work hours till 7 o'clock at night, when I got to be back up at 6 or whatever time to be at work at 7:40. It's just no way. Another situation that happened, I had to get, the $250 that the government give you. I had to get that sent to the school. Why did they open my package? I thought you're not supposed to open people's mail. Even though on the box it said the school's name, but above the school name it also said my name. Why did you guys have to see what was in my package? I felt like that was very, very nosy and very nosy. Shouldn't be like, your break should be your break. And going back to a fall break, I was really stressed and really unhappy. And, certain days when I walk down the hallway, the principal will see me. Oh, you need to put a smile on your face. She's like, oh, you're not the same person from the interview, blah, blah, blah. Like, she'll say stuff like that. And it's like, I get what you're saying. And I get that you're trying to see exactly what happened, if I'm okay. But you never did have like a sit down to really say, like, is everything okay? How are things working out? blah, blah, blah. How are the baby? Da, 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 da. The first day we had a faculty meeting, she had the nerve to say, oh, you know, Miss Morrison's having a separation anxiety. Make sure you guys check on her. Are you being sarcastic? And if you are being sarcastic, that's not something to really be sarcastic about, because if you know how sensitive you are when it comes to you leaving your baby. And so I can't speak for every mother, but I know mothers that I have talked to, and mothers that, you know, mother groups that I'm in, that like, that's really sensitive. And I'm overall a sensitive person anyway. And it's just kind of like, if you knew my back history, you would have never said something like that, because it's not only like about being separated from my baby, it's also more so not having
a significant other in my life that I would love to have in my life, which is my mother, not be here to help with my baby. But I don't have to
explain all that. Like, I don't have to say all that. You just keep your sarcastic comments to yourself, because everything does not need to be commented. Yeah. So I know the story just seems so all over the place, and it's just so many other stuff that I can just say about just the school in general. And then even like at the end of the year, they was like, oh, if you stay until the 6th, they'll give you $1,000 for still being employed. And it's like, let my mental health be affected in somewhere that they don't care about me. Because the educational world and any job out there don't care about you. Like, you have to move on your own. You have to step out on your own. And back to me doing the fast and stuff like that. This is my journal. I live by journaling, reading the word, making sure that I pray, meditate whenever I get a chance. And I kid you not, this was on Tuesday, January 3rd. Tuesday, here's the other top. I literally felt God's presence as I was typing that resignation letter up. And that was the day that I literally typed it up and resigned from that position. And I just told God, just in general, like, what I've been focusing on starting. And that was on December 28th. And December 29th, I woke up, did not even thank God for waking me up or nothing. I just text one of this girl that I've been reaching out to about starting something new, that I had, of course, had a meeting with on the 28th. And I just kind of dived in, and her message was just so, what is the word? Her message just came right on time about consistency. And I would probably just put it right there at the top. And something just told me to just go to the Bible verse app, and I could leave the app on the screen as well. And the verse was Psalms 42 verse 11. Let me see if I can find it really quick. I'm gonna leave it on the screen as well. And this is just kind of just going into just a testimony. Like, so I said Psalms 42 verse 11. So over the holiday break, which was Christmas, I was just real discouraged, because I was just kind of like, I don't have a job in place, but I know that God is not going to leave me high and dry. I know he's not. And so when I opened up that Bible, and it said, why am I discouraged? Why is my heart so sad? I will put my hope in God. I will praise him again, my Savior and my God. I kid you not. That was the verse that came up, and immediately tears just flowed down my eyes, because I just couldn't believe it. Shortly after that, my friend from college ended up texting me at 12:40. Kid you not. And the scripture of the day that she had sent me was Proverbs 3, verse 5 and 6. And the Lord with all your heart, do not depend on your own understanding. Seek his will in all you do, and he will show you which path to take. I said, you know what? Let me continue to pray. Let me continue to pray. Let me continue to pray. And so then I just kept telling myself, like, I knew that I wasn't going to go into the new year and just feel, or not feel, but walk the halls of something that God had already told me to leave. But I just didn't have the courage. I really didn't have the courage. I was really being fearful. And I know you're not supposed to be fearful, especially when you are, you know, in God's words and stuff. And, you know, so it was just literally, so all of that happened Thursday, from Psalms 42, verse 11, and Proverbs 3, 5 through 6. Friday morning, I went to the Bible app again, and the verse that came up was, the key word for me was watch over me. So Psalms 32, verse 8. It says, the Lord says, I will guide you along the best paths for your life. I will advise you and watch over you. You cannot tell me that this was not God. Like, all of these verses came within a weekend of ending the year out. The day that I wrote in my journal on Tuesday, January 3rd at 10:10 was the same verse. Trust in the Lord with all your heart. Do not depend on your own understanding. Seek his will in all you do, and he will show you which path to take. I'm out. Because this is a testimony. This is what you call God. And all I'm going to say is, I did several interviews. I got one call back. I've been at peace since. And I was supposed to start today. But of course, being intentional with God will get you through life. I will not tell you otherwise. I'm out. I hope you guys like this video. I hope you guys share this video. But all I gotta say is, God is real. Peace out. So I just kind of wanted to add to my video. So today is Saturday, January 7th. And I just kind of want to speak on the topic of the situation that happened in Virginia at the elementary school. So it was a first grade student that shot his teacher. I'm a first grade teacher. So it just kind of makes me think, and of course, any other elementary school teacher or any educator, period, with all these shootings that just been happening since like too long. It just kind of makes you just think. To kind of add to my video is that the school that I currently resigned from, it was the same particular student that I was addressing earlier that kind of just needed that attention. And so it just kind of, not saying that that particular child, because I'm not labeling him as if he was the one to do something like this, but he will always make smart comments stating, oh, I'm gonna tell my mama to come beat you up, or I'm gonna tell my mama this, or I'm gonna tell my mama this, or I'm gonna tell my mama that you did this. And so what if he did go tell his mom? And what if he went home and told his mom something that wasn't true? And his mom did come up to the school and said, hey, I want to meet with my child's teacher. And it just so happened to be me. And within me meeting that particular mom, she do something to harm me. All my parents from the school that I resigned from never face to face ever wanted to meet me. As much as they reached out via text or via phone call, when I did see most of them in person, they never wanted to meet who their child teacher was, which is mind blowing to me. It's just really puzzling. And it just, and I really wouldn't say the generation, but it's just like, I don't know. And so to also add to that is the fact that one of the students in my classroom back in November brought a knife to school, a pocket knife. And when one of the students in the classroom told me that the child had a pocket knife, I said, what? And so they was like, yeah, he got it. And I was like, come here, such and such. And I was like, what do you have? He was like, oh, I thought it was a key. And it really did look like a key. Don't get me wrong. It did look like a key. And I was like, well, why did you bring it to school? He was like, because I wanted to kill somebody, he said. I can't even remember who he said. He was going to cut somebody on the playground. And in that moment, it was just kind of like, I didn't even know what to say, because this was my first time even ever experiencing this. And so I just kind of didn't know what to say. And so when he did that, of course, I had to walk him up to the office. And during this time, the counselor was up there and the principal was in a meeting. So the counselor stated that she's going to come down or call me up for me to write a statement or whatever like that. That never happened. It never happened. What happened was, it was a few students that she called on the intercom to have a pizza party. But I never got called for any of my students that he told that he had the knife, that he was going to kill them, to write a statement. I never got asked what happened, what was said, what was done, And so I just say all of this. Hi, mama, you woke up? I say all this to say is, you really have to be safe. Something that they don't do in this particular county. It was really truly a lot of things that were just new and just red flags. Like, all of these things was just opening my eyes. You have to start somewhere. So yeah, I don't know. I'm just praying for the state of Virginia and this particular school and the teacher and also the 6 and 7 year old, because nobody should ever have to be in this situation when they really don't have to. So like this video, share this video. I encourage all my educators out there to stay safe. We're praying for one another. If we don't do nothing else. I thank you guys so much for tuning in to danaalexes. Yeah, and see y'all later.